Hello and good afternoon, everyone, to the Trees Around the Globe Student Research Campaign. This is webinar number 9 in a series of webinars for the first year of the campaign. And today we're going to have great presentation from Switzerland and Markus Eugster and his students. Markus is a teacher and a Globe Master Trainer. And he'll be talking about what greens up must green down, Greenings live from Switzerland. And we'll get a little more of that in a second. Just go over a couple things as I normally do. Those of you who haven't seen this, I'm going to roll this again because this is a really cool intro to the campaign. So what's great about that video is it shows you, the personal nature that we have with trees. And, the campaign is based upon measurements and observations of tree height, land cover, and greenings, green up, green down. But as you know from lots of the webinars and discussions we've had and blogs, we really want to bring a personal aspect in as well, along with that scientific, because everybody has, their favorite tree or look at trees when they're on vacation, when they're traveling, they notice, the different trees in different environments, from redwoods to palm trees to conifers, pine trees, lots of trees all around the planet. And, I was just talking to a group of students in a middle school yesterday, and, it was great because they all understood the importance of trees, providing that oxygen for us, and lots of other things. So, we wanted to make this campaign scientific, but also personal. So, and you've seen from lots of webinars that we've done that. All right. So let's continue with this intro here. And as I always show you this tree. I won't go into this. This will be here on the recording, so I don't have to go through this, but this is all about the campaign, kind of the step process of it. And then we always bring up the guidelines when you're looking at trees. Should be measured they should be at least 5 meters or 16.4 feet tall. And they should be isolated trees or the tallest trees in a large grouping of trees. So what we're looking for primarily, if you want, eventually when we can compare it to the ISAT-2 data, and I didn't bring that up much about the ISAT-2 data because the actual satellite data won't be released until later this month. And what we want to do ultimately is to be able to compare your tree height measurements that you're taking as part of the campaign and ones that are being taken with the NASA Globe Observer Citizen Science Trees tool on the app. And we want to be able to compare them to the tree heights that are being measured by ISAT-2. And with ISAT-2, we really look at the data density part. We want concentrated tree data. So, if there's lots of trees in a particular smaller area, take measurements of as many trees as you can, and then that'll be data density. So that'll really align with what the satellite's doing. All right, so then we have some guiding investigative questions as part of the campaign, as you know, and I'll keep them up there for a second. We won't go through them specifically, but they're on the website when you want to check those out. And then I showed this last week because, as you know, this month we're having kind of back-to-back webinars. We had one last week with students and environmental groups in New York State in the U.S. Today, it's going to be live from Switzerland. But I wanted to bring this up again. This is the top April measurements, and these are countries with participants submitting at least 5 measurements as part of the campaign. So we have tree height, greenings, and land cover. Even though we do have more tree heights and land covers being taken, and it'd be more shaded in here, but that would be part of the NASA Globe Observer. So what you're seeing are colors for people who are just part of the campaign and not doing part of the Citizen Science app, but they're doing the actual physical measurements using the clinometers by hand and the tape measure. So that's great. for the tree height, and also the greening protocols and the land cover protocols within the globe student side of things. And we just finished, as you know, the intensive observation period for land cover in April, and here's where we got measurements from. And we had 664 land cover measurements for April. And the winner of that, and he is online right now, is Mr. Jeff Bauman from the Shoemate Middle School in Gibraltar, Michigan, who I'm also going to put a little shout out to him because he was featured as a during Teacher Appreciation Week in the United States on the Weather Channel last Monday. So he was talking about the GLOBE program and what he and his students do with it, as well as his weather STEM weather station that he has at Shoemate Middle School, the first one in the state of Michigan. So congratulations, Jeff, and for your great measurements, and everybody else who submitted land cover measurements as part of the campaign, part of the intensive observation period. So as you know, we have as I mentioned, the Globe Trees tool on the NASA Globe Observer, and we released it on March 26th, 2019, and we have over 3,300 tree height observations coming in via the NASA Globe Observer Citizen Science app Trees tool. So we're super excited to see that. If you're part of that, yeah, it's great. Keep them coming, and we're reviewing those pictures all the time. And let me show you that's just sorry. If you want to go to the learn more about the trees tool, we have a promo video you can grab on YouTube at that URL. And I wanted to mention that our next campaign webinar will be Wednesday, June 12th, and it will be called Lessons from a Southern Old Growth Bottomland Forest, live from Congaree National Park. This is in South Carolina in the United States. So we have the director, David Shelley, who will be presenting to us what his research and what he's learned by studying trees in a southern old growth bottomland forest. Come and hear what that's all about. That's Wednesday, June 12th at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or 6:00 p.m. UTC. And that will be the last webinar for a couple months. We'll take a break from webinars in July and August, and then we'll be back in September with brand new webinars. In September, we're going to be starting our second year of the Trees Around the Globe Student Research Campaign. So please join us for this webinar on Wednesday, and maybe by then I'll have some idea of what we can do with the ICET2 tree height data. Hopefully it will be released by then. It should be later this month. So we will please stay tuned for that, and I'll get to that as soon as possible, as soon as we can figure out how we can look at that data and compare it to your tree height data. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Markus Eugster from Switzerland. He is a teacher and Globe Master Trainer, and he and his students will be talking to you about greenings, green up, green down. And we haven't talked much about this, but this is a really vital part of our campaign. Not just the tree height or the land cover, but we have, the tree height or land cover. We also have green up, green down as one of the principal measurements as part of the campaign. And Markus and I know the European Phenology campaign have really, done a lot related to greenings. We see the measurements coming in all the time, thousands of measurements. Since the campaign started, I think it's around 4,000 to 5,000 measurements that have come in since actually we started the campaign. Of course, they're not all part of our campaign. A lot of it's done with the European Phenology campaign. But what Markus has been doing is great stuff, having his students understand what the greenings mean. And he's going to be talking to you about that, and also a cool project called PhenoCam, where you can look and do time lapses of trees and leaves over time. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Markus and his students, and I will stop sharing my screen. Welcome, Markus.
Hello, my name is Lisa, and I'm going to talk about how the tree is going to change from summer to autumn. Me and my classmate had to choose a tree and tag a branch of it with a woolen thread. Every week we go to our tree and measure how the colors change with the aid of the color table and the color app. Then we enter the results in the table until each leaf is fall down. It is different for each tree how the leaves are changed the color and when they fall down. Of course, it depends on the weather.
Hello, I'm Lynn, and I'm gonna tell you how the app works that you need to measure the color of the leaves. With this app, you also can capture the color change in fall. First, you have to download the app ColorGraph. After downloading, you open the app and take a picture of your branch. Take the picture and put your finger where you'd like to measure the color. Swipe to your left and write down the hex code on your paper. We are working on a method to reliably measure the color with the cell phone. Hello, I'm Björn. We upload our data to the Globe website. We register and then search our tree on the website and enter the observation. First, you have to enter the data, then you click on whether the leaf has fallen down, the color has changed, or the leaf is covered by snow. Then you open the color chart and click on the color you observe. Finally, you submit all your data.
Hello, and my name is.
All the data you enter can be checked and visualized here with the Globe visualization system.
Hello, my name is Aldin, and I will explain you how we did a second data visualization. This time we tried something different, and we made our own second data visualization. We used the same concept as Globe, but with Excel. Excel is a computer program that is mostly used for tables, but you as well can make diagrams, like on this picture here. With such diagrams, you can very good visualize when the leaf has fallen or when the leaf is back.
If we compare our green down data to our weather data, we can't see an obvious reason why this leaf turned brown in mid-November. We just had 2 cool weeks with almost no rain. It just grew old. This leaf finally fell off when it cooled down, after 3 rainy days at the beginning of December.
Hey, my name is Matteo. Today I'm gonna share the difficult things when measuring the leaves. One thing was when the weather wasn't good. That means when it's windy or when it was raining. When you had to take a picture of the leaf, the sunbeams were also a problem. But most of the days, the weather was okay to measure the leaves. To solve the problem with the weather, you just have to wait till the weather is okay to measure the leaves.
Hello, my name is Philip. We learned when the leaves change the color and when the leaves have fallen off, like from green to brown or so. Each color has its own code. In this picture, I have measured a color from a plant color guide.
Hi, I'm Arthur. I will explain you how green up works. On our tree, we take a branch with a thread and choose 4 buds. One time in a week, we observe the buds with the time the buds are swelling. Later, they are bursting and we can measure the leaves. When we observe the leaves, we take a picture with the mobile phone and fill in the protocol to document the changes.
Hello, I'm Leah and this is Alina. To upload your data onto Globe web page, first choose your tree and the data of your observation. Then you enter the shape of your 4 buds, or after bud frost, the length of your leaves.
Hello, my name is Darian. You can retrieve your green up data on the Globe homepage as a table or visualize it. We have not yet entered our spring 2019 data.
The green up with Excel is such as with green down with Excel. We enter the data to Excel. -10 means sleeping, -5 means swelling, and the plus numbers means the size in millimeters. In spring, the leaves grow up and up, also in this time that we see at this Excel diagram.
Hello, I'm Leandro. Our weather data helps explain the green up diagram. Two cold weeks lowered down the growth of the leaves. The following warming accelerated it again. We got some snow in early May, which probably has slowed down the leaves. Grow again. Or are they soon full grown?
Hello, problems with green up and how to handle them. The trees look very different after bud burst. Your branch and leaves, or you won't find them again. Don't mix up leaf buds and blossom buds.
Hello, I'm Valentina. We learned when the leaves started to grow, how fast they grew, and we learned that from a bud even several leaves or flowers can grow.
Lautstärke abtun. Lautstärke abtun. Okay, can you hear me again?
Yes.
So, thank you for explaining the green up and green down. And now, I run the Seasons in My Biome project, and this contains a collection of seasonal pictures. And if you want to see them, just follow the red links you find on the homepage. And then you will see that many of the sites have trees or even forests. For example, this one is a subarctic forest in Fairbanks in Alaska. But you can explore this site yourself. So I will explain you now how the PhenoCam works. This is a camera that can take pictures, for example, every hour. And we fixed some cameras around the school to take pictures of our trees, for example, on a water pipe or even on a tree or just on a windowsill. My class could afterwards go to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich and have a one-day visit there. We developed a booklet that explains how this PhenoCam works, and we have boxes for Swiss schools with all the equipment. we use the camera also in other lessons, for example, in chemistry, where we can show the crystallization of, for example, NaCl. We needed a software to make our time-lapse videos. And at that time, my son was a student, and he has been writing a new software for this camera. You can at first, you can download the camera. You can download the software. I will give the link at the end again. At first, you choose the pictures of the camera because you probably don't want to use all of them. I just used only the first picture after 6 o'clock in the morning. Then you can check whether all the pictures are okay. And then you can define an exporter to export the video. And for example, from this spring, we got this video. Perhaps you saw that for 2 times we had some snow, and perhaps you have a look at one spot in the tree where you see how the branches are going down when the leaves are growing. I will start it once again. Perhaps you look at this point, and you can see how the branches are getting heavier and heavier. Now you can try to detect green up in the pictures. I defined 2 polygons. One is here in the left of the tree, and the other is down in the meadow. So the left part of the tree is the first one, and the meadow is the second one. Then you can define what you will measure in these polygons, for example, green fraction or green percent. And then you get the data in an Excel table, and then you can produce diagrams. And if you have a look, for example, to the diagram green fraction of the left part of the tree, you won't see that there is more green, or also in the meadow, there is no clear result in this diagram. It has to do with the green can be very different depending on whether the sun is shining or not. So we had to find something else to detect the colors, and I will give you just a short digression in color theory. Perhaps you know the color cube. There is, at this point, is full red, here is full green, and here is full blue. And if you define one color, for example, red, at this point, and then you look at the triangle from black to white to the color, then you can see all the possible colors that are similar to red, all the reddish colors that are darker or lighter than the original red. And we wanted to have a software that finds all these red colors and reports them as red. So we used this color model. It is defined like this. You have no green or a lot of green, and then green is going down again, and the blue is going up here, is up and goes down again, and the red is up here and going down again. So here on the left side you have only red, no green, no blue. Then you have more green, this gives yellow. Then you have less red, but still green, so it remains green, and so on. And you know probably this ribbon as a circle. It is the color circle you probably already know. But if you go back to the ribbon and combine it with this circle, you can say here is 0 degree, here is 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 degree, and 360 degree. So you get this kind of color ribbon. And now we can define the colors like this. For example, 96 degree is a green color, but it means all the greens that are lighter or darker in the extreme to the black. And all these colors are 96 degrees. So with this, we should better find the green color, even if the sun is shining or not shining. So I will show you again how I used the software. I used it for this polygon here, again in the tree, and for the polygon in the meadow. And I defined another little polygon here on the roof because I wanted to check when there was snow on the roof. For example, here we have snow on the roof, and then you can see everything is white here on the roof. You can also export these pictures to explain what you wanted to show. And now I can show you some results I got with this video and with the color analysis. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So I get a lot of numbers, and the numbers here on the top, they show how many degrees. So this means which color I'm looking at. And I wanted to detect green. So this is perhaps between 70 and 150 degrees. So I look at all these numbers between 70 and 150 degrees. So these are these numbers from 70 to 150 degrees. This should all be green colors. And I make the same for all the pictures in this video. And finally, I make a diagram, and now I can see how there is more and more green because the tree is, the buds are opening and the green leaves are coming out. So this diagram now really shows how green up takes place. I used it for the meadow also, but I tried it with different colors. Again, I used the green color, but as the meadow was all the time more or less green, it doesn't show a clear result. I had a look at the colors between green and blue, and of course the meadow is not green between green and blue, but if there is little light, then in the morning it looks a little bit like bluish. And if I combine these two colors, you can see that it is almost 100% of these colors with two exceptions. And these were exactly the days when we had snow on the ground.
Marcus, are you showing us, we see the chart that says tree left green 70 degrees to 150 degrees only. Is that what you're intending?
No, sorry. Okay. Yeah, that should be.
There we go.
Okay. Oh, so you couldn't see this diagram before. Yeah. Sorry for that.
And another question before you begin was also, what is the x-axis on the chart?
The x-axis is the number of the picture in the video.
Okay.
So this is the picture number 0, number 7. The pictures have numbers in the video.
And the y-axis?
This is from 0 to 1. 1 is 100% of the color. So this is absolutely green. This is no green at all at 0.
Got it.
Okay, so these two diagrams show that from green to blue, these colors are most of the time 100%, and with the exceptions when we had snow on the ground. And the last diagram I want to show you is the one from the roof. So at first I wanted to measure the colors between green and blue. So this is, for example, 50 to 270 degrees. And again, I make an addition of all the colors I find. And if I let Excel calculate this, you can see in the diagram, sorry, that most of the time we find these colors, but with three exceptions. So the first exception was here when we had snow on the roof. The second exception was when the sun was shining directly here on the roof. And the third here, this one, picture 421, was again when we had snow. Just to give you an idea, if you use other colors, from red to yellow and from blue to red, I can show you the result. From red to yellow, this is between 1 and 50 degrees, so on the left of the color ribbon. And the last one is from blue to red, this one. I just fill it in so we advance quicker. So you can see here on the diagrams that normally we don't have red to yellow colors on the roof, but we can find these two colors, interestingly, if there is snow on the roof. So I show you the pictures. So we have snow on the roof here and here, but there are some errors. This one with the red color was this picture with the sunlight, and the second error with the blue to red, so the violet colors, was when it was almost dark and then the colors seemed to be purple. Okay, so this has perhaps shown a little bit how the software of the PhenoCam can be used to detect colors and to find the time of green up and green down, and also for winter observations for snow cover. So now we go back to our green up, green down, and trees. I hope you can see the correct pictures.
We still see the spreadsheet. There we go. Good.
Okay. So we come to the last part with the questions to the trees.
Hello, I'm Adrian, and I say you a few important of trees. Trees are very important because it is a big room for animals. In the trunk live many beetles, and the branches and leaves many birds and other animals. Another important point is the tree produces oxygen that we can breathe, and this is a very important point.
Our, our question was, where are trees growing and why are they there? Hello, my name is Lydia and this is Janina. Trees are growing on a moist ground and not on a dry ground because they need to pull water out of the ground. If they have no water, then they die. Trees also need enough sunlight to grow. If we in Switzerland don't do anything, forests would grow everywhere here.
Okay, that was our presentation. And perhaps there are some questions we could answer.
All right, thank you. One question came in. Let me go back a little bit. Jeff Bauman mentioned when you introduced the PhenoCam, have you ever looked into the Nature Bytes cameras? Have you ever heard of those or looked at those? Nature Bytes, B-Y-T-E-S.
No, I don't know that. Is this a similar project?
And Jeff, if you want to put your comments in, or if you can unmute yourself, Jeff, and mention that.
Yeah, Nature Bytes is out of it's out of Europe, and they're great cameras. I got my hands on one set, and then due to the batteries in Homeland Security, we couldn't get any more shipped to the U.S. And so that was just a really good company that I had worked with, but we had to stop working with them just because of customs. But I know, you know, roundabouts where you're at, maybe that's something you guys could check out. I loved them. I just can't get my hands on them anymore. That's why I was asking.
Okay, thank you. We will surely have a look at this.
From Lynn Chambers, what are you holding in the picture right here?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
This is from Lynn Chambers. She's asked, what are you holding in the picture? What are the students holding?
Okay, we have a willow garden at school, and every year we cut the willows. So here we are cleaning up after cutting the willows.
Excellent. Mr. Bauman posted the Nature Bytes website on in the chat box. So thank you, Jeff. Anybody else have any questions? Any comments? How long have you been working with PhenoCam? How long have you been working with PhenoCam? How long was it? 2012? Was that when I remember seeing it?
Yes, I think the project started in 2012 in Switzerland.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many do you know how many people are using that, or how many groups are using that estimated?
Oh, that's different. We have only 2 boxes, and there are, when a school uses these boxes, then they will have it perhaps for half a year.
Okay.
So, yes.
Great. Have you done any comparisons between the different schools?
I don't always get the feedback because sometimes they just produce time-lapse videos they use in their schools. And I think the color detection is not so easy to use.
Okay. But yeah, thank you for the great explanation of, you know, the color concept and with PhenoCam. That was great. Does anybody have any other questions? Any concerns, comments? We have lots of people saying awesome job from the students. Great job, Marcus. So we have lots of comments in the chat box. They're really loving this PhenoCam and the work you've done, you and your students have done with the Greenings, the green up, green down. Anybody else? One question. Have the students ask new questions based on these studies?
You mean my class I have now at the moment?
Yes, basically, have the students ask new questions, have they come up with new questions to be researched or studied based upon what you've done, what they've done with their studies?
Yes, I think that happens all the time, because there are, of course, you can imagine there are other things we must do at school in chemistry or biology and technology. And between all these other things, we continue our work with the green up and green down. So this is perhaps not every week, perhaps twice a month. We can work on it again, and then almost all the time we get new questions.
Excellent. A question from Yono and his students in Peru. Is there a relationship with the green up, green down, and the height of the trees? Is there a relationship with the green and the height of the trees?
I don't know, perhaps. So it depends. So the height of the tree can depend on the age of the tree or also on the species. So maybe an old tree doesn't green up at the same time as a younger tree, but we don't have such results, because we always observe the same about 30 trees around the school. And I have done it with my students for, I think, more than 10 years now.
Okay. Yeah, and that also depends upon the species of the tree as well. Some will, yeah. So there's lots of different factors in there. There's age, type of tree, lots of different factors.
Yes, I think you can answer this question only after several years. If you always observe the same tree over a long time.
And you said you've been looking at the ones for 10 years?
Yes, or even more.
More. Okay.
I started phenology with my students in 2004 about.
Great. All right, any other questions? These are great questions. Anyone else? All right, well, thank you so much, Marcus, and your students for the great presentation and helping us understand more about green up, green down and the research you've been doing in Switzerland, as well as PhenoCam, how it works and the results that you can get from that by looking at trees over time. Quite often we don't, think about looking at trees over, a longer, over a period of time, because we just don't see them changing. But when we have something like PhenoCam that can, and the studies you've been doing where it can actually look at the trees over time using time-lapse, we can really identify what's going on. As you mentioned, you showed the trees, what was happening in the trees, what was happening on the roof, what was happening in the meadow. So this is great. So thank you so much. And we also want to remind people about the June 12th webinar from the Bottomland, all about the Bottomland Forest, Southern Growth Bottomland Forest. And that's at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on June 12th. All right, so anything else from anybody? All right. Thumbs up, Mr. Bauman. Saw that. All right, so I'm going to stop this recording right now.